Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is July 6, 2025, and Hansi Flick is considering taking a rising star in the academy to the preseason. Also, Deco is set to begin talks with Luis Diaz's agent. And finally, Barcelona have ruled out Dumfries. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and we'll begin this video with the news that Barcelona have confirmed the schedule of this preseason, a schedule that I told you about I think it was 2 weeks ago, but this is what Barcelona have posted through their social media accounts, confirming of course that July 13th, that's right around the corner, will be the official beginning of the preseason, with the team or the players reporting to medical revisions. And then the following day, on July 14th, the team will be back at training. 10 days later, Barcelona will begin their preseason tour through Asia, where they're going to be playing against Vissel Kobe on July 27th. And then on July 31st, they'll be playing against FC Seoul in Korea. And after that, of course, Barcelona will head back to Spain, where they will be playing on August 10th the Joan Gamper Trophy match against Cesc Fabregas' Como. Now, of course, we'll conclude the preseason, and then we'll begin the official La Liga season, which I cannot wait for. Now, it's reported that the players' return to the preseason will be gradual, like always. For example, the first players to report back will be the players that did not have any international duties. After that, it will be the players who did have international duties, but that will also be gradual. For example, players who got knocked out in the semifinals of the Nations League will report back first. And then finally, the players who made it all the way to the final of the Nations League, they'll be the final ones to report. And then there's also not just that. Don't forget, Flick is set to meet with Marc ter Stegen before the preseason begins to let him know, hey, Joan Garcia is going to be number 1. Tech is going to be number 2. You're not going to be getting minutes, so it's best you find another club. We'll see what ter Stegen's reaction will be to that meeting and whether the German goalkeeper will decide to leave. Now, speaking of the preseason, Hansi Flick is now considering taking a rising star in the academy for 2 reasons. A, the Nico Williams snub. As you know, he's not coming. And also, Dani Rodriguez, who Hansi Flick wanted to see him in the preseason. But of course, Dani Rodriguez still recovering from that shoulder injury that he suffered during his debut with the first team. So now Hansi Flick is seriously considering Jan Virgili. Jan Virgili is an 18-year-old left winger, someone who has been a rising star in the academy. He's been rising through all the categories, impressing all his coaches on the way. He is a right-footed left winger who can play on both wings, and he can also play on a central role. And now Hansi Flick is seriously considering taking him to the Asia preseason tour to see, can this guy cut it? Can he be part of the first team? And honestly, from everything that I've seen so far, mostly highlights, and from what I've heard, I'm very, very excited to see Jan Virgili under the orders of Hansi Flick. Now, speaking of left winger, of course, we have to talk about the biggest name that's been linked with Barcelona since the beginning of the summer, and that is, of course, Luis Diaz, because it's reported that now that Nico Williams is not coming to the club, Deco is scheduled to begin talks with the agent of the player. But for now, they are putting it on hold. Deco is not going to start meeting with Luis Diaz's agent right away. Why? Because, of course, the tragic passing of Diogo Jota. So Barcelona want to give the player, some time to mourn, to grieve. They don't think this is the best time to immediately start talking to him. But once they've given him some time, Barcelona want to start talking to his agent to see the possibility of signing Luis Diaz, because as you know, he is Deco's number 1 option to reinforce the left wing. Now, there's currently talks that Deco could plan with Luis Diaz's agent perhaps a late signing sometime in August, because after all, Liverpool have spent 200 million euros on signings. So towards the end of the market, they might be forced to offload some players in order to, adjust their financial fair play. So Barcelona could, try to consider a late signing where Liverpool are a little bit desperate. I personally, as I've said a million times, I think this option is highly, highly, highly improbable. First of all, Liverpool want, 80, 90 million euros. That's a lot of money that Barcelona cannot afford. Plus, now with the tragic passing of Diogo Jota, I think Luis Diaz just became a bigger priority for Liverpool than he was before. So for me, I think it's highly improbable. But nonetheless, Deco wants to have a conversation with Luis Diaz's agent, see what happens. So I guess it doesn't hurt to have a conversation. But to me, I just don't see it likely. Now, speaking of another left winger that we've been talking about, we have to talk about Raphael Lao, because as I mentioned in yesterday's video, AC Milan would be willing to part ways with the Portuguese attacker for around 70 million euros, which I said, I think that's too expensive for Barcelona. And I saw a lot of people comment, hey, if Barcelona can pay 62 million, they can pay 70. And I don't know if you guys have done the math, but from 62 million to 70, that's 8 million euros. And I don't know if you've been playing too much FIFA career mode, 8 million euros is a lot of money, especially for a club in the financial situation that Barcelona are currently in. Unless, of course, you have 8 million euros laying around. Maybe you can contact the club and wire them that money. But anyways, that's not the news. Of course, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, Leao is not a priority for Barcelona, even though he is Jan Laporta's favorite option. And now, well, the chances are even less likely of Barcelona going after Leao, because it's being reported that he's absolutely untouchable for AC Milan's new coach. So not only is Barcelona not prioritizing the signing of Leao, AC Milan are not prioritizing offloading Leao, which that was a different story several weeks ago. Now, we will end today's video with the news regarding another player that has been heavily linked with Barcelona in the recent days. And that's, of course, Denzel Dumfries, because he has a release clause worth 25 million euros, which expires on July 15th, and it's only valid for clubs outside of Italy. And of course, with Nico Williams not coming to Barcelona, his agent Jorge Mendes immediately offered him to the club, because he said, hey, I heard you guys have 62 million euros that you will not be spending. I got this guy. He's only going to cost you 25 million euros. And of course, I told you several times on my videos that yes, Barcelona would like to have someone like Dumfries, but he's not a priority. And now that Jorge Mendes has offered him, Barcelona have once again confirmed that no, Denzel Dumfries is not a priority, because of course Barcelona fully trusts Jules Koundé, and now we have Eric Garcia, who's shown us that he is a really good substitute for Jules Koundé. And then there's of course Hector Fort. So we have three players for that position. So of course, as much as Dumfries will be a great addition for the team, Barcelona are not considering the signing of Dumfries. And in fact, he's now being linked to Manchester City. Looks like Pep Guardiola would like to have Dumfries on his team in order to replace Kyle Walker, who has left the Premier League club. Anyways, that is all for this video. We'll be uploading another video shortly, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, Visca Barça.